Have you ever felt like a piece of blotting paper? After every conversation, you carry not just their words, but the heavy weight of their emotions. Whether with family or colleagues, you don't just listen, you absorb. This deep connection, once a gift, starts to feel like an invisible, heavy burden. Empathy is the most precious bridge between souls. However, for many, it can become a silent trap that leaves you feeling utterly drained and empty. Think back to those moments in crowded rooms. Everyone is talking, laughing, and sharing, yet you feel an inexplicable weight pulling at your spirit. The echoes of other people's problems linger in your mind long after they have left. Their stress becomes your stress. Their sadness becomes your own shadow. Why does connection lead to depletion? Why does your heart feel like it has run a marathon just by sitting and listening to a friend? You are not alone in this feeling. This exhaustion isn't a sign of weakness. It is a biological response to the way you perceive the world. Today, we explore the science and the soul behind the empathy trap. We will look at why your kindness might be costing you your energy. We often talk about the beauty of understanding others, but we rarely discuss the high price, high empathy individuals pay every single day for that gift. It is time to understand the mechanisms of your mind and how to reclaim your peace without losing your heart or your ability to care. Let us step into the world of neuroscience to see what actually happens inside your brain when you step into someone else's emotional shoes. Neuroscience calls this the mechanism of mirror neurons. These are special cells that fire both when we act and when we observe others acting. When you see someone in pain, your brain automatically activates the same regions as if you were experiencing that very same pain yourself. It is like a dance in front of a mirror. Your brain mirrors their sorrow, their anger, and their anxiety, making their internal world your reality. Your amygdala acts like a highly sensitive radar station. It is constantly scanning the environment for emotional signals from everyone around you at all times. For highly empathetic people, this radar never rests. It is always on, picking up every subtle shift in tone, facial expression, and body language. You aren't just listening to a story. Your brain is literally living in it. Your body reacts to their trauma as if it were happening to you. These mirror neurons were essential for our survival as a species. They allowed us to bond and understand threats without experiencing them directly ourselves. But in a world of constant digital and social noise, these neurons are often overstimulated, leading to a state of chronic emotional fatigue and exhaustion. Every interaction leaves a ripple in your mental pond. When there are too many ripples, the water becomes muddy, and you lose your internal clarity. Understanding this biological basis is the first step. You are wired to care, but your hardware was not built for this much emotional data. When the amygdala is overactive, your body stays in a low-level state of fight or flight, draining your physical energy reserves very quickly. Minutes spent listening to a toxic vent can feel like hours of hard labor. This is why you feel physically tired after a simple lunch. You are a sensitive instrument in a loud world. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do, just too much of it. The brain's effort to process others' emotions uses up glucose and oxygen at an alarming rate, leaving you mentally fogged and physically depleted. Now, let's look at the metaphor of the blotting paper and how the boundary between you and them begins to vanish entirely. Like a piece of blotting paper, you have a high capacity for absorption. You take in the environment until there is no white space left. In your brain, the default mode network, or DMN, starts to blur the lines. It struggles to distinguish where your feelings end and theirs begin. By the time a conversation ends, your emotional glass is overflowing. The other person feels lighter because they dump their burdens into your container. You are left holding a weight that isn't yours. This is the cost of caring, a biological tax paid by those who feel too deeply. Your internal world becomes a mosaic of other people's problems. This lack of boundaries is what turns a beautiful trait into a heavy burden. When the DMN is hyperactive, you ruminate on their stories for hours. You replay their pain, trying to solve it as if it were yours. This mental processing is silent but incredibly expensive. It burns through your willpower and your patience, leaving your own inner flame flickering and weak. You become saturated. Just like a wet cloth cannot clean up another spill, a saturated heart cannot offer genuine support or find its own joy. The walls of your self become porous. This is not just a psychological concept. It is a state of neurological overwhelm that demands total isolation. You lose your sense of direction. When everyone's emotions are inside you, how do you know what you actually feel about your own life? It's a chain reaction. One person's bad mood triggers your mirror neurons, which triggers your stress response, which eventually leads to a total collapse. Empathy without boundaries leads to empathy distress. It is a state where you are so overwhelmed by others that you lose your capacity for compassion. You might start to feel numb. This numbness is your brain's last-ditch effort to protect itself from being completely fried by the external world. The noise of the world is too loud. You need to find the off switch, but your brain doesn't know how to stop the absorption. This is the moment when the gift becomes a curse. This is when the person who cares the most becomes the one who suffers the most. How do you know you're in the trap? It's that sudden irritability after a long day of being the good listener for everyone else around. It's the feeling of dread when your phone buzzes. Even a simple, "How are you?" feels like another demand for energy you no longer have. Your body is screaming for silence. This is emotional burnout. It isn't just being tired. It is a deep, soul-level exhaustion that sleep cannot fix. You might face insomnia because your brain is still trying to digest the day's emotional intake. You might withdraw from those you love the most. You're not being selfish by wanting to be alone. You are simply out of emotional currency. You have spent everything you had on everyone else. Your battery is dead. And in this state, even the smallest interaction feels like an insurmountable mountain that you simply cannot climb today. The world feels too bright, too loud, and too demanding. Your nervous system is oversensitized, reacting to every stimulus as if it were a direct threat. This is the compassion fatigue. When you give too much for too long without recharging, you lose the very thing that makes you who you are. You want to care, but you literally can't. Your mind has shut down the empathy circuits to prevent further damage to your own mental health. Recognizing this state is vital. It is your body's way of saying, "Stop, no more. I need to return to myself before I disappear." But there is a way out. You can learn to be a mirror without being a sponge. You can learn the art of selective empathy. To survive, you must build a filter. Think of it as a translucent glass wall between you and the pain of the people around you. You can see the emotion, you can acknowledge it, but you do not let it enter your blood and bone. You remain a witness, not a victim. Practice selective empathy. Ask yourself, is this my burden to carry? If the answer is no, visualize yourself handing that weight back to the universe. Breathwork is your secret weapon. With every exhale, imagine you are breathing out the tension and the stories you have gathered from others throughout the day. Learning to say no is a form of self-respect. You don't have to be everyone's therapist. Your peace is worth more than their temporary relief. Nurture your own garden first. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are empty, you have nothing of value to give to anyone. Seek silence. Spend time in nature where the only vibrations are the wind and the trees. Let the earth ground your overstimulated nervous system. Use physical rituals to wash off the day. A shower, a walk, or even just washing your hands can signal to your brain that interaction is over. Create a safe space in your home where no emotional talk is allowed. This is your sanctuary, a place where you are only responsible for yourself. Adopt the mantra, observe, don't absorb. You can be a light for others without having to set yourself on fire to keep them warm. Your energy is sacred. Treat it like currency. Be intentional about who you spend it on and how much you give away each day. When you have boundaries, your empathy becomes more powerful. Because you aren't drained, you can actually be present when it matters the most. You are learning to fly again. Without the weight of the world on your wings, you can reach heights you never thought possible before. Connection can be beautiful again when it doesn't end in exhaustion. You can love deeply while staying whole and complete within yourself. It is a journey of practice. Some days you will still be a sponge, but slowly you will become the master of your own filter. We return to the silence, but this time, it's not the silence of exhaustion. It's the silence of a soul that has come back home. Your sensitivity is a superpower, not a flaw. It allows you to see the colors of the world that others often miss entirely. But every superpower needs a suit of armor. Your boundaries are that armor. Wear them with pride and without any hint of guilt. Empathy is a bridge, and every bridge needs strong pillars. You are the pillar. Keep yourself strong so the bridge can endure the storms. Remember, you must empathize with yourself before you can truly empathize with the world. Your heart deserves its own kindness and its own care. Keep the fire of your empathy burning bright, but never let the winds of others' chaos blow it out. You are the guardian of your light. Thank you for taking this journey with us. May you find the balance between caring for others and protecting the precious energy of your own soul. Take a deep breath. You are home. You are safe. and you are enough. Until next time, be kind to your own beautiful heart.